In a quiet valley nestled between mountains that seemed to touch the sky, lived a young man named Leo. At 20 years old, he possessed dreams as vast as the landscape around him. He envisioned himself as a successful entrepreneur, the proud owner of a chain of restaurants. But his reality was a stark contrast to his ambitions. Leo's family was caught in a constant financial struggle. His father, Mark, was a mechanic whose hands were permanently stained with grease, and his mother, Claire, cleaned houses to help make ends meet. Leo's younger sister, 10-year-old Sophie, looked up to him with innocent eyes, seeing him as her hero. One cold evening, Leo sat on the steps of his small house, his gaze lost in the tapestry of stars above. "I want to give my family a better life," he whispered into the stillness. "But how do I even begin when we barely have enough to survive?" The following day, Leo shared his aspirations with his father. Mark, wiping his hands on a rag, sighed a weary but loving sigh. "Leo," he said, "dreams are not free. If you want something, you must be willing to fight for it. Start with what you have, no matter how small it seems." The weight of his father's words settled on Leo's mind. An idea began to form. He had noticed that the people in his town loved fresh bread but had to travel a great distance to the nearest bakery. He decided he would be the one to bring fresh bread to them. The immediate problem, however, was his lack of capital. He had no money to purchase the bread up front. With a surge of determination, Leo decided to take a gamble. He walked for miles to meet the bakery's owner, Mr. Anderson, a notoriously grumpy old man known for his distrust of strangers. Standing tall, Leo made his proposal. "Mr. Anderson, I want to sell your bread in my town, but I have no money to pay you in advance. Can you trust me for 1 week? I will sell the bread, return your money, and keep only a small profit for myself." Mr. Anderson arched a skeptical eyebrow. "And why should I trust you, young man?" he grumbled. "Because I am determined," Leo replied, his voice unwavering. "And I will work harder than anyone to prove myself to you." After a long, tense silence, Mr. Anderson gave a curt nod. "All right, I will give you 1 week's worth of bread. If you fail to pay me back, don't ever bother coming here again." Leo was ecstatic. In the pre-dawn chill of the next morning, he carried the fragrant bread back to his town and set up a small stand near the park. With boundless energy and a warm smile, he greeted every passerby. Fresh bread, warm and delicious. At first, people were hesitant, but Leo offered free samples, and soon he had his first paying customer. By day's end, every loaf was sold. That evening, he returned to Mr. Anderson and paid him in full. The old man simply nodded. "You kept your word. Come back tomorrow." From that day forward, Leo's life became a rhythm of relentless work. He woke at 4 a.m., walked to the bakery, transported the bread, and sold it with unyielding passion. After 2 months, he had saved enough to buy a small cart, which allowed him to carry more bread and serve his growing base of customers. One day, a regular customer mused, "Leo, why don't you bake your own bread? You're a natural salesman, but if you were the baker, your profits would be much greater." The idea ignited a fire in Leo, but it also filled him with fear. He had never baked a thing in his life. In that moment, he understood a profound truth. Nothing is free. Not success, not knowledge, not growth. If he wanted to succeed, he had to take risks and learn. Unable to shake the idea, he decided to ask Mr. Anderson for help. "Mr. Anderson," he began nervously the next morning, "can you teach me how to bake?" The old man frowned. "Why should I teach you my trade? If you learn to bake, you will no longer buy from me. That is bad for my business." "You're right," Leo acknowledged, "but I will never forget the man who gave me my first chance. If I succeed, I will find a way to help your bakery in return." Mr. Anderson considered this for a moment. "Fine," he finally conceded. "But baking is not easy. It demands time, patience, and hard work. If you are ready for that, I will teach you." The lessons began at 3 a.m. the very next day. Mr. Anderson showed Leo the art of mixing flour, kneading dough until it was just right, and baking it to perfection. Leo's hands ached, and his initial loaves were either too hard or too soft. One day, after ruining yet another batch, he sank onto a stool, defeated. Maybe I'm not good enough for this, he muttered. But then his father's words echoed in his mind. Dreams are not free. He realized that every mistake was a lesson. Giving up was not an option. With renewed determination, he returned the next day and practiced each step with meticulous care. Slowly but surely, his bread improved. After 2 weeks, Mr. Anderson handed him a perfectly baked loaf. "This one," he said with a rare hint of a smile, "is perfect. You're ready." Overjoyed, Leo rented a small oven and started baking from home. His family watched in awe. Sophie helped him pack the bread, and his mother made him tea as he worked late into the night. Soon, Leo expanded his offerings to include cookies and pastries. The town fell in love with his products. "Leo's bread," they'd say, "tastes better than anything we've ever had." But success is a magnet for competition. A new bakery opened in town, run by a young man named Eric. His shop was large and fancy, with colorful signs that drew the curiosity of the townspeople. Leo's sales began to drop, and a familiar fear crept in. Instead of panicking, he chose to adapt. He listened to his customers, asking them what he could do better. He learned that they were drawn to the clean look of Eric's shop and the beautiful designs on his cakes. Realizing he had to grow not just as a baker, but as a businessman, Leo used his savings to paint his cart and add bright decorations. He started offering free samples of new pastries and spent his evenings in the library watching videos to learn cake decorating. Slowly, his customers returned. One evening, an elderly woman told him, "I have seen many young men give up when times get hard, but you did not. That is why we trust you." Her words filled him with immense pride. Months turned into a year, and Leo's business flourished. He saved enough to rent a small shop, naming it Leo's Fresh Bakes. It was warm and welcoming, and his family worked alongside him. But life had another test in store. One stormy night, Leo noticed smoke coming from his bakery. A small fire had started near the oven. Though he managed to extinguish it, much of his equipment was damaged. The next day, whispers of doubt filled the town. What will Leo do now? Some worried. Maybe this is the end for him, others speculated. Heartbroken but not defeated, Leo stood before his damaged shop and declared, "This is just another challenge. I will not give up." He took a deep breath and began to plan. His savings weren't enough to replace everything. For a moment, fear threatened to overwhelm him, but he remembered his journey, how he started with nothing but a dream. He approached a now-retired Mr. Anderson for advice. The old man smiled. "Leo, you already know the answer. You have taught yourself that nothing is free. Work harder, believe in yourself, and people will believe in you." Inspired, Leo began to rebuild. He started baking at home again with what little equipment he had left. The townspeople, moved by his courage, rallied around him. Some donated ingredients, others gave small sums of money, and many offered their time to help repair the shop. Leo learned another vital lesson. When you work hard and refuse to quit, people notice, and they want to help someone who helps themselves. After months of tireless effort, Leo reopened his bakery. It was better than ever. On the day of the grand reopening, the town's mayor declared, "Leo, you are a true inspiration. You have shown us all that with determination. Anything is possible." Standing before the crowd, Leo said, "Thank you. You have all taught me that nothing in life is free. Not success, not respect, not love. Everything must be earned with hard work, patience, persistence. Never let failure stop you. Every challenge is just a step to something greater." From that day on, Leo's Fresh Bakes was more than just a bakery. It was a symbol of hope. His story teaches us that dreams demand sacrifice, that failure is an opportunity to grow, and that the darkest moments often come just before the dawn of success. Leo didn't just build a business, he built a life of purpose and pride. And so can you. Whatever your dream, never stop chasing it. Remember, nothing is free, but with unwavering resolve, everything is possible.